So we are going to continue with our JavaScript fundamentals series, and in this video, let's get out of the console where we have these greeting messages appearing. So we're saying, hey, we're taking in a name, and then we're saying it is this date, and then this date is coming from an array of days. We're using the date object that's part of JavaScript to get this the number corresponding to the day, and then we're taking a day name out of this array, in this case for Thursday, and we're putting that into our console. So while that's cool and we have some nice functional programming concepts going on, we're working with a lot of cool parts of JavaScript already. Let's go ahead and take this event listener that is applied to this button that we did in the last video, and you guys can check that out. So you guys can see this 2 here. When I click the button, we get a message. You can actually click this little clear button. If you ever need to clear out the console, that's one way to do it, and just make sure that works. Cool. And that's coming from line 7, as you can see in our app.js file. So here is the console log printing that out. So instead of just printing it out to the console, what we want to do, because this is going to be a website we want users to be able to interact with, let's display it on the website, because that's going to be a lot more helpful to everyone, and it's going to look cooler too. So let's see, right here is the event listener, and on click, we are firing this function, and right now all this function is doing is calling greeting. So up here we have greeting. It's taking in a name parameter, or the default is read, which is my name. You can make it your name if you want, or whatever, and just say something funky. Then we're getting the current date, and we're using that to build this output here. So let's go ahead and actually take the message here and populate that with the output of greeting. And we're going to run into a few challenges along the way, and we'll figure out how to solve them. So just how we got the time button and assign that to a variable, a constant variable, so we don't expect it to change, we are going to go ahead and get the greeting text here. And the reference to the greeting text will not change. What is inside of it could change. So that's a little bit of a funky concept. So we'll just start out by console logging it just to show you what I'm saying. So we're actually just getting an element from the DOM right now, right? We're not actually relying on getting the greeting text per se. Yeah, I told you guys in one of the earlier videos I'll get better at this talking and typing thing as we go, but hasn't happened yet. Okay, so console.log and greeting text. All right, so we are going to see the greeting text here, and or rather this element once we have saved, and we'll hit refresh. Okay, so we can see that we're getting this whole paragraph element up here. And yeah, this is a cool thing about the console, is you can highlight here and it'll actually just show you what's going on, so you guys can see the padding and everything that's around that hey string that's inside of here. So rather than manipulate this entire paragraph tag, what we want to do is replace what's called the inner HTML of this element. So we can use this element reference, and we're going to take greeting text. Again, that part does not change. We're going to use that variable. We're going to use what's called its inner HTML, and we're going to set that to the output of greeting. So on click, we want our greeting text to change to the output of this greeting function. Right now, it's just console logging something. So let's refresh the page and see what happens. Okay, we're getting an undefined value, which we did not want, but is expected. And the reason is we're only console logging this text. We're not actually getting the text returned by the function. So we could try to do it another way. We can just see what happens once we console log greeting, and then this might make it a little bit more clear. We refresh, we click our button, and we're getting a reference to this function. And this is what our function does. Okay, so that is all this stuff here. So instead of that, let's go ahead and return all of this. And you guys can see this is going to be a little tricky because we have this interpolation, this concatenation going on here. And there's a neater way to write this. First, let's just see if it works. Nope, not yet. Okay, so what we can do is actually use backticks. And so those are the things that look kind of like a single quotation mark, and they're like rotated a little bit to the left. They're on the upper left-hand part of your keyboard. And we're going to wrap this entire string with backticks. And you'll see very quickly how powerful and just like how much easier it is to write code like this. So what happens is when you want to insert a variable, like we were doing before when we were just saying plus name and we had to write the spaces into our string and everything like that, you do a $sign and then these two brackets. And those are escape characters for variable, what's called interpolation. So we're putting the variable inside of this string. So just like before, but without having to use the plus operator, we can put this in here and we can just have a nice, neat, and legible piece of data without having pluses and trying to manage spaces and having all sorts of stuff here. And these interpolated values can be any expression. So we could even use conditionals, which is something we might get into later on. But right now, we're just going to basically reproduce what we had here. So we have day names, and then we're also using the current date method to populate that function. So that's what that looks like. And so let's just go ahead and double check. We have hey, name, it is this date. Okay, cool. And then you guys can see here is where the second backtick is. So we're just going to delete all of this. And now we have this expression being returned. So this should set us up nicely. So we'll refresh the page, click, and that didn't work. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, so you guys can see this is a work in progress and we're just sort of making it up as we go. But yeah, that's because we were not actually calling our function, we were setting it to the reference to the function. So that's why we're just getting the entire text here like we just talked about earlier. So now this is awesome. We can dynamically populate content of our website with our greeting text. So great, that's an awesome first step. So later on, what we might want to do, and I think would be a cool way to expand this project, is we can create a timer. So we might create a form here that could take in a time, and we'll say, get started, and we'll click this. And when we click this, we'll start a timer and we'll have some sort of graphic here that displays the time. And then we'll get a message once the time is complete. So yeah, I'm pumped to continue this idea of manipulating time and then showcasing what happens within the DOM. But for now, you guys have seen how to take data that we're creating in our script and take that data upon user interaction and use JavaScript to populate the DOM with it. So pretty cool. This is amazingly powerful stuff, and don't let the simplicity of this example fool you. It is basically how every website on the internet is built. So there's just tons of stuff we can do. We're barely scratching the surface. So I'm excited to continue. I hope you guys are too. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps out, especially as we're just getting started here. We're pretty stuck until we get 100 subs. So yeah, every little bit helps, guys. Every share is awesome. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and it's gonna get pretty quickly and we're gonna have a lot more interaction. So I'm pumped.